They were going to give away huge swaths of the land of Israel, even more than actually happened. 97% of Judea and Samaria, 2 of the 4 quarters in the old city. Imagine if that would have happened, God forbid. But like what they were willing to do for peace in their ignorance and stupidity was to give away the whole boat, kit and caboodle, the whole thing to the bad guys like we did in Gaza. Imagine what would have happened to Jerusalem if 2 of the quarters of the old city were controlled by the terrorists, God forbid. So, he says like, yeah, Ehud Barak was willing to do that. And Yasser Arafat didn't accept it. Thank God he didn't accept it, right? But now Bill Clinton is finally like understanding who he was dealing with.
And they said no. And I think part of it is that Hamas did not care about a homeland for the Palestinians. They wanted to kill Israelis and make Israel uninhabitable.
Ta-da! There was a eureka moment here. Ladies and gentlemen, there was a eureka moment. Bill Clinton had a eureka moment. He understood that Hamas, but really what he means is Yasser Arafat and the jihadist bunch, they really didn't want peace with Israel. Ta-da! Oh, what a moment. What a realization. The people that are telling you that they're willing to go for peace, he's like, I actually think that he didn't tell me the truth. I don't think he wanted peace. I think what they wanted to do was to kill Israel and Israelis. Eureka moment. It's like you figured out, history since the year 600, and you figured out what jihadism is about. And you figured out what this war against the Jews and against Israel is about. You're like, I think that 1948, 1956, 1967, 1973, and the rest, they're trying to destroy Israel. Ta-da! Oh my God. But you know what, though? Respect that he at least says it here. That he has that realization, and crazy respect, or maybe, I don't know, he's losing it, that he's getting up in front of this audience that doesn't want to hear any of this, and he's giving them, power to truth. Or I don't know what. He's giving them truth back. They're expecting him to give him the whole spiel about why the 2-state solution has to keep going. And here comes Bill Clinton, and he's turning it all around. So this is why this is an incredible video. Let's keep going.
Well, I got news for them. They were there first. Before their faith existed, they were there. In the time of King David, and the southernmost tribes had Judea and Samaria. But
am I living in some kind of alternative universe? Is there some kind of like, is there something going on here am I in the Twilight Zone? He's like, well, yeah, the Jews were there. Actually, it's not the West Bank. It's Judea and Samaria. And the Jews were there from the time of King David 3,000 years ago. Like, does this Michigan audience want to hear? Yeah, well, the Jews are the more indigenous. If we're going to be talking about indigeneity, they really are from there. That's where their history is from. This is like, I'm telling you, this thing is gold. This thing is like a mind blower. And again, I guess Bill Clinton was, I took his actions as being more, trying to just shrink Israel. But maybe he really did want peace and was just duped into it, which is weird because he's a smart guy, right? Nobody can deny that Bill Clinton is smart, and he couldn't see through that.
The whole fight that you have seen played out was present in the beginning for Israel. 2 parties, Likud and Labor. Likud says, we want the whole West Bank because we had it in the time of David, and to heck with whoever came later and other things. Labor said, we will take what the United Nations has offered us, and we will make a garden in the desert, and we will have friends, and we will work through it. And they did. David Ben-Gurion.
What an amazing analysis. I don't think it's totally accurate, but still it has merit, which he says, like, there's one group, the labor group, which wants to work with the international community, more is concerned with the international community or the UN says, and is willing to take what you could get to build a garden in the desert. And then there's the Likud or the Jabotinsky or the Greater Israel attitude, which says, no, hold on to what's yours. This is historically ours. And jihadism is dangerous. Don't let it into our land. Push it back. Hold on to what's yours. Reclaim our ancestral cities, Hebron, Bethel, Jerusalem, etc. That's what's really important. And he says, well, the David Ben-Gurion style won out. And in other words, what he's saying is, I myself was, in agreement with the David Ben-Gurion outlook and not the outlook of control everything because it's yours and also because that's the right defensive position. So I was going with the UN two-state solution way of doing things.
They're still fighting this fight today. And so here's what I want to tell you. I'm going to do everything I can to convince people that they cannot murder their way out of this, neither side. You can't kill your way out of this. And they have to make a new beginning. But when I read that people in...
There's only one way that we can get rid of the terrorists is we got to fight with them. There's no way to negotiate with them. Didn't you learn that lesson? You made us negotiate with terrorists, and it led to nothing. All this work for the last 40 years of this two-state solutionism has been garbage. So what do you want us to do? Try to give away our land again? Or should we fight the terrorists that are now dug in on our borders and inside our land to try to destroy us? What would you do?
Michigan are thinking about not voting because they're mad at the Biden administration for honoring his historic obligation to try to keep Israel from being destroyed. I think that's a mistake because Donald Trump has shown what he wants. And I don't think it's, and he claims it's good for Israel, but I don't think it is. I think we still have to find a way to share the future. We cannot kill our way out of conflicts.
We cannot kill our way out of conflicts. Did you share the world with the Nazis? Did you share the world with the Imperial Japan? No. You fought the bad guys. This is where cognitive dissonance comes in. It's like you gave a whole speech being like, yeah, that whole thing failed. I still think we should share the land. The Muslims and the Arabs have this whole region, but this tiny Israel, we should cut it up in half and let the jihadists in, take away the Jewish peoples. And you could see that he's got a heart for Israel. You could see that he does. I believe that he does. And yet he has done so much evil, so much destruction has come into this world when you let evil reign. Maybe this is also part of the teachings of Christianity, which is turn the other cheek and stuff like that. Instead of being like, no, we have to hate evil. We have to uproot evil. And that's what America did when it came to the Nazis and the Imperial Japan. They fought. And by the way, interestingly enough, somebody pointed this out to me. America still has bases to this very day in Germany and next to Japan, right? That's Okinawa. What do you think that means? That means that after you Germans and Japanese tried to take over the world, tried to destroy liberty and freedoms, basically occupy and colonize the world, well, we pushed you back, and guess what? We even put bases in your countries to this very day. All right, so this to me is where the Clinton speech kind of starts to turn the other way, and it's a shame because there was a realization there. There is a realization there. And I think that he did a great job explaining to us why giving away the land is dumb. I think we've seen a certain revelation that Bill Clinton in his heart really sees is the historical obligation of defending Israel, making sure that the Jewish state survives. And somewhere in there, it could be that there's a beginning of realization, wait a minute, giving away the land is not the way to do it. And what exactly, is the Republican side? What are they really offering? Well, I wish they would offer it even more clearly, but it's for Israel to articulate and not for American Republicans or for anybody in America. It's for Israel to articulate that we're going to be on our land. The Jewish state is going to exist on the land of the Jewish people. And I want to tell you a quick story, and with this we'll close off. Recently, last week, I was speaking with an Arab in Hebron, and he says to me, I hope this is going to be a year of peace. And I said to him, why do you say that when you and I perfectly well know that this is a year of war? We're going to fight, and that's what's going to happen this year. So let's bless each other, with reality, and I said to him, in my opinion, Israel's victory. So he says to me, this is an Arab in Hebron. So he says to me, okay, but what's going to be the future then? I said to him, the future is that here in the so-called West Bank in Judea and Samaria, there's going to be only Israel. Israel is going to be the sovereign and the governor here. And pro-Israel, non-jihad Arabs are going to get residency in the land of Israel. And bad guys, pro-terrorist folks, jihadists, they're not going to be here any longer, one way or another. But pro-Israel, decent folks are going to have an opportunity for life in Israel and a pathway to normalization in this land through residency. And they're going to, live here, and they're going to be pro-Israel, and they're going to have work and respect. I said it in fewer words. And he says to me, that's great. He says, exactly. He said to me, inshallah, with the help of God. That's it. The future is that Israel is going to live where Israel is. Where the land of Israel is, that's where the state of Israel is going to be. And around us are going to be pro-Israel or at least non-anti-Israel Arab states that want to cooperate for regional normalization, realignment, and prosperity with the help of God, including tourism and biblical tourism as well, Abrahamic tourism.